Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast. Cross the line in 3, 2, 1.
What is going on, my Impact Wrestling fam? Welcome to episode 128 of the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast. My name is Geoff, and we got a lot to talk about, including a round of hot topics that we'll do kind of quick fire because there's gonna be a bit there. Obviously, we have Impact on Access TV to talk about. But first, I want to say hello. Hello. What's going on, guys? Excited to be here. Excited to talk to you guys. I know there's this foosball thing going on, so if the chat doesn't light up, we'll keep it with, an hour there. Obviously no longer than 86 minutes. But I want to obviously tell you guys thank you for tuning in, but also hit the like, subscribe, all that stuff. The closest we've been to 4,000 on Twitter. Io deserves it, man. He's working hard there as well. So 14 more we needed there. 354 to our goal of 400 on YouTube and views. And then I don't know what's going on with podcasts. We have some issues with that. And then Spotify is, or not Spotify, excuse me. Sounders going down, I guess. So trying to figure all that out. But if you're listening there, thank you. Don't know the numbers, but I appreciate you however you are consuming this. And then obviously check out everything else on the channel, on the TNAIW channel, including Tuesday's GoGoPowerRankings, where you can see our buddy Lucha, not only in the BFG commercial, chanting TNA, but also you can see him Tuesdays with Datala and Bert, and GoGoPowerRankings, really cool format there. And then, of course, Thursdays, Talking Bloody Nonsense is back with Mr. Impact Craig and I was going to say Peter Bloody Nixon. I don't know if that was a little much. I don't even know what that word means. Sometimes bloody. I think over here, I don't know. Does it mean different thing over there? I'm stupid right now. But guys, we got a lot to talk about, including Big Kon signing, even though he's been around. Now he's long-term signing. Brian Cage becoming a free agent possibly. Mickie inviting Mercedes, and some Lacey Evans things I want to talk about. I know it's not in our realm, but it is wrestling and speaks to a bigger picture. But talking about Mickie, I do want to eat some crow. Guys, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And it seems like I was just totally forgot the fact that once she, mission accomplished, as Io had said prior, that the thing continued. I don't know. That's why, I thought it was I know it was do or die, but I thought if she lives, it continues. So, eating crow there. Went on a whole thing about that, but I'll tweak it and talk a little bit more why I thought that, and why I'm excited that's not the case. But we'll talk about that when her segment comes up. And the other thing I want to mention is last week I obviously mentioned, and had a tribute. What's going on there? Chelsea Greene topic, if that's an option. Yeah, we'll talk about that. I think I got her on here somewhere. But I mentioned Jay Briscoe, obviously, in the untimely sad news of his passing, and put the link to their to families. I don't think it's GoFundMe, but you know the gist. In the last week's description, and on my mission to be a better person, I kind of ate myself up, or beat myself up, me and phrases, last week of not mentioning that as well, man, because we focus on the celebrity or in his family and, the person that we're attached to, or you look at the circumstance and form an opinion before anything. But in this episode, I will put on the bio or in the description as well, not only for Jay Briscoe's and his daughters, but the other family involved in the accident, because she obviously had kids as well. So don't want to forget that, but a lot to talk about, man. For those that rock with me, I appreciate it week in and week out. Numbers been good. Let's keep them going. Thumbs up, follow, subscribe, all that jazz. But let's, we mentioned power rankings. Let's see what you guys thought. It was a jam-packed show. So without further ado, let's see how this played out.
Number 10, Callahan in the design. Number 9, The Foundation, Jonathan Gresham. Number 8, Steve Macklin. Number 7, World Champion Josh Alexander. Number 6, Ace and Bay Bullet Club. Number 5, Tag Team Champions The Death Doss. Number 4, World Champion Mickie James. Number 3, Digital Media Champion Joe Hendry. Number 2, X Division Champion Trey Miguel. Number 1 Contender Rich Swann.
Hey, hard to argue with that. I think you could. I think you can make some cases here and there, and I'm sure they will debate it Tuesday. Once again, Lucha, Dato, and Bert, GoGoPowerRankings. But, if you want to make a difference yourself, let's say that first. You can write us on Twitter, @BertMacklin11 or @TNAIWChannel. Join the Power Rankings after Thursday's episode. You put in your rankings before Sunday, noon Eastern. I'm losing it. And simple as 1 through 10, put it in there. Bert does the math, sends it over. Datala does the voice, I do the video. Boom. All right. So if you want to join us, write us there. But as I was saying, alluding to the actual episode, between having the champions on there plus, the effect of the episode itself, I thought it was pretty fair. Cool to see Rich Swann not only back in there, but at number 1. Seeing the tag titles on there again is pretty cool. So, and Joe Hendry, man, deserved that. And Trey, all of them, man. It's hard, man. We're getting back to that where every segment is really jam-packed with story and character and aesthetics and art. We'll talk about that. Actually, let's get right into that. It's going to impact on Access TV. We'll start with BTI, as I generally do, and I'll say the same shtick if you haven't watched me before or viewed or listened, however you consume, once again. I like to repeat myself in some things, including this. BTI, I know if you watch Impact on a regular basis, why watch a whole recap? Okay, I get that. But as I say, if you watch Impact on YouTube as I do, you have that 30 minutes, man. And within that 30 minutes, you can definitely go back and watch Iceman Intel as well as the matches, because the matches not only have been having story, but also really depth, and it's on a damn good matchups for a while now, man. So don't sleep on that. But first, Iceman's giving some intel, and he's talking about the partner for Giselle later. It's a former Knockouts champion, former Knockouts tag team champion, former WWE Women's champion. So there's only a few. That's a resume right there, and you kind of put a pinpoint on that once you hear that. But being a spoiler-free show, what's going on, Millard? Welcome to the party. I have nothing. It's gonna be an episode, guys. Just it's gonna be an episode. We'll see where it takes us. We'll enjoy it. We'll go on the journey together. But yeah, like I said, the resume there is unique. Being spoiler-free. This was a really cool show to watch, especially if you look at Iceman Intel to tell you a little something about later. And I was like, oh, shit, okay. I didn't know she was pulling double duty. I thought she was just there for the Mickie thing, but that's cool. Spoiler, Tara. We'll get to that. But the match, man. First of all, once again, I got to mention Gia doing Gia things, and one of them is being great on commentary. I love this. I don't know if it's permanent. I don't know what they're doing, if they're going to get back to having, different commentary team for BTI and Impact. But I eat it up, man. Love the banter between her and Tom. Obviously love Matt and Tom as well. But it's nice. Gia Borash. Nah, Critical Sting, what's going on, buddy? I think she's better than Borash. I have a gripe with Borash when it comes to commentary and amongst other things, but still love JB. One of the best backstage interviews, I'll give that. Borash is up there. But this is Zicky Dice taking on his, as they mention, breaking the old kayfabe. They got a podcast together, partner outside in ventures, right? But Zicky's with his current partner, which is Johnny Swinger, which I love this. They're trying to chase that 0 to 50. They need to get these wins. I don't know if this counts, but Zicky does pick up the win here, and what I thought was a fire match, man. I'm self-admittedly not too familiar with Carly Bravo. Oh, gotcha. Not too familiar, but really cool. And as much as I love Swinger and Dice together, Swinger is getting up there in age, right? Millard saying I don't miss boring ass. I mean, Borash. But yeah, we're looking for tag teams. We're looking for not just tag teams that we're throwing together or now giving the juice behind, but maybe some new ones, man. We see the good hands forming and developing. We'll talk about that. Really cool about to see Kushida and Kevin Knight. But what about Zicky and Carly, man? Cool vibe. I just think there's a really cool, obviously, chemistry there. But both of them being larger than life, I think it works, man. But I digress. Don't want to take anything away from Swinger. You know our love for Swinger. But Swinger could do anything, and he's still... I mean, how often does he wrestle in the first place? So make sure you check that out. Well worth it. But we move on right to the main card, and it's the X Division match. Trey Miguel defending against the 73-year-old Mike Jackson. When in Atlanta, you get Mike Jackson. And I thought this was fun, man. First of all, Mike not having a Twitter underneath in his graphic is just lovely. Popped me there. And Trey is just that next level. We've been looking for it, or at least I have. I know there was a lot of you that said, I'm ready for Iowa. I was going to say Iowa was one of those who mentioned this. Ready for Trey to take that next step, and I actually think this is that next step, man. I don't think it needs to necessarily be title in that sense or stature, but this right here, this title reign and what he's doing artistically, aesthetically, once again, 2022 Drip of the Year winner, nonsensey winner, Trey Miguel, and proven why. But no, man, I eat up what Trey's doing, and here he's picking up a win against Mike Jackson. Could you make the argument of this one on a minute and a half, 2 minutes, a little bit longer than it could? Yeah, but it's a fun time, man. The crowd was eating it up. Mike Jackson always gets the crowd behind him, man. And you never know when the last time this dude's going to just retire, so it's cool to have him had that moment, too, in the history books. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And feel nitpicky for even mentioning that, but hey, honest, unbiased, and transparent. One thing I want to mention, because we were talking about Myron Reed last episode and MLW granting him his release or not renew it, whatever it was. Follower of us on Twitter, by the way, Myron Reed. Hey, cool moment. But damn, I know we talk about finding the perfect opportunity to bring Wentz back and whatever, and how much we love the Rascals. And you guys mentioned, what about a heel Rascals, right? And what would be better, Millard bringing up the point, what would be better for Trey going forward, bringing the new Rascals or Trey joining Bullet Club? And great question, because that Bullet Club idea is kick-ass, man. I don't know who mentioned it last week. It would just, once again, elevate him even more. And then there's literally our future, including, I think, Tasha. I think Lucha's manifestation of Tasha joining Bullet Club is a possibility. We'll get to that. But I think what I would love, man, and it's a way to bring in, once again, Wentz, who I think I would love to bring home. You bring in Myron as well, and you have a Dirty Rascals. You guys, for all my WCW heads back out, if you're old enough like me, there was the Dirty Animals with Conan and Mysterio and Billy Kidman and them, right? And Tori Wilson, I believe, and Tigress, the Nitro Girl, when they were taking the Nitro Girls and using them as managers. Good shit. And I just feel like what Trey's already putting out there and what those two could bring on top of that, and them already being, they would be heel, I imagine. I just think it's a cool stick, man. And I don't know if it just passed by me or not, but perfect timing. See, the gods are working with us. The universe is talking to us, folks. The trade shirts, man, everything they're doing is phenomenal with this. So kudos to Trey for just upping, and whoever's helping him when it comes to graphics and all that shit. Dope. Moving on, though, just a little bit. I could talk about that all day. But Crazy Steve comes, and we're continuing. Once again, I love this, man. We're keeping, Black Taurus in the picture, but kind of Crazy Steve as well, right? Just crazy, two Z's. Comes from out under the ring. He takes off his garb, and he's just head to toe Trey Miguel, right? Logos and words, and then he paints it on himself. Once again, a really cool. You could tell they're taking notice to every part of the show and making sure every part of the show has this setting is a character as well. The characters are characters. The lighting, the angles, everything's tight. I really dig what they've done at these Atlanta tapings. Getting back to, there was a really sweet spot, and I will lose my brain trying to reminisce, but where it was just everything felt cohesive and yeah, I think this was one of my favorite episodes in a bit when it comes to just the look and the artistic approach to everything. You can tell I'm in the treehouse now. But moving on, so Trey runs away, but he's met by Black Taurus on the other end, and once again, love Black Taurus in this spot, looking like the inevitable foe for Trey. I don't know. But yeah, cool stuff. Trey runs away through the crowd, and we get to Kay's music. Loved it. Next up, Gia's in the back, and she's interviewing Josh. So this is the champ's spot here. He's looking forward to the 6-shooter. Once again, not a not a Young Miami and Diddy hobby. The golden 6-shooter, he's talking about that, and who's going to be the number 1 contender for No Surrender. And all the choices are former champions, which, love this, man. Once again, we'll don't want to get too far ahead, but the only champion on the roster that is not included would be Bully Ray. So nice little touch there. But Gia and Josh does a great job of running down why each champion in there matters in a way. I guess that's the more simple way to put it. Loved it. Went through the history of each, about Sabin being the one that whispered in his ear, Rich not getting a shot since he lost it, all of these other things. Rhino's championship rank. Loved it, man. And Macklin comes on. That silhouette of them two face to face, right? That has a rebellion or something, cover art look to it, right? But I dig it. Macklin coming in talking about, yes, I understand why I'm not part of it, but know that I've beat every single person in that match. Beautiful touch there, and great testament to the story being told. Once again, every champion that's in this match, he has pinned. Pretty cool. That is long-term storytelling as well, guys. And then he makes a reference to your friend Scott, which I dig as well. Your friend Scott can't get you out of this anymore. Whatever. Loved it. Next up, Sabin and Rich stretch in the background. I'm a sucker for these. They used to do them in TNA too, where it's, they're stretching the back, they're walking in the ring, whatever it was. They're walking. But they're just little reminders. It gives Tom a little thing to keep referencing what we're all here for, the main event. Right? Hasn't pinned any, if I recall. But that doesn't matter. I just feel like there had to been something with, maybe he was honor no more when they were feuding. Was there something there? Maybe where he didn't pin any, but in a multi-man or something, or a tag. I don't know. Or did they not even say that? It's very possible that I'm just putting words in his mouth as well. We know my record here. Anyways, next up is the Good Hands. So I've already mentioned loving the progression there. Obviously, the gear, maybe a DQ one. The gear clicking there. The chemistry in the ring certainly clicking here. Love the Chaos Theory into the pin. If you're not a beat for beat bell to bell watcher, I think, because I was going through my catch up before I do the show, I think it's on their Twitter for sure. The Chaos Theory, beautiful one. Do Douglas Williams proud. And they're gonna face Kushida and Kevin Knight. Now, this is my first experience of Kevin Knight, so pretty excited to see that, man. Love that New Japan is trusting us with their young talent. Love how Tom put him over, Matt as well. And then, of course, happy to have Kushida back. They're going to pick up the win. no harm, no foul, man. Good Hands are still finding their footing. I'm sure it's going to work out for them. I say it like that because it's a frickin' TV show. Of course, they wanted to put them together if it's not going to be something, so. But yeah, I like the prospect. Kevin, I don't know if he sticks around, but between him and Yuya and every other New Japan talent they're allowing on here, pretty interesting, especially with the, I talked about a little bit about New Japan Strong ending, at least at a point. I know it was released today that it will be returning, but in a different format, different style of how it will be released. Interesting to see that. Very interested to see what the approach is for that. And it's also really interesting that the New Japan Strong folk, not all, obviously, but they're being used on Impact as I don't know, are we going to see more? I don't know who's in his states. I'm not really good at keeping up with that, but yeah, so interesting note there. Love this. And once again, no harm, no foul on the dub here, or loss. Next up, Santino's backstage in the locker room with Giselle and Jay. And she wants to know who her partner is, and he reveals it, and Jay is a super fan. And rightfully so. Rightfully so. So we'll find out later who that is, even though I spoiled it. Love this, man. Santino fitting into the role fine. We obviously went into great detail about that of me being, pleasantly surprised. And that's not a slight. Once again, self-admittedly not a huge E-fan at the time of when his work was there. But I think it fits, man. Because my concern was, with face on top of that, face authority figures, and then a comedic one, you got to hit. And so far so good. He was able to play the more serious stuff with Bully that we'll get to, and so I think it's a good fit. And I won't jump too far ahead, but Giselle is still looking for a partner after this, and I think I could kind of see the writing on the wall here, but let me know what you guys think. I want to make a mention of Millard saying there, I hope New Japan Strong continues to work with Impact, but I got a feeling it might be with ROH and squeezing out Impact. All right. I don't know. Look, is it a pleasure having New Japan wrestlers on Impact? Hell yeah. Especially the strong connection there, and Motor City Machine Guns having the titles, and everyone being able to work between. But with Josh working as well for New Japan, I don't think. Are you just mean the U.S. Structure, I guess, or for whatever they want to call it, the U.S. Component that they're gonna rework just New Japan Strong? That's a possibility. Maybe it will be on their app. Maybe they need more content. Who knows, man? At the end of the day, as long as we still have that access to New Japan and, the relationship's good. Rocky Romero, by the way, giving Scott D'Amore all the credit when it comes to the relationship. So, shout out to him. But, let me know what you guys think. Is that a thing? Are they going to put him on there and then we don't get access to that? I don't see that. As far as being solely and not allowed to be on Impact. But who knows? Prioritize working behind a $10 paywall would be stepping backwards. Yeah, that's fair as well. Unless, it depends on what Kon is willing to pay, man. He overpaid, and I love them, but he bought ROH for a GOOOOOO money, man. I'm sure he's cool with just playing around and picking up as much content as he can, and eventually hoping it pays off. And I'm sure his gamble, I'm not sure, could. Next goal is to work with Stardom. Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. We have the roster just keeps getting better and better. So, speaking of knockouts, let's move on. Jordan is backstage and Mickie approaches. I love this, man, because even though there's respect there, and she does tell her it's one of my best matches in my career, and I don't think there's any lies detected in that. I thought that was, I could go back and watch that match over and over. Was completely wrong on it shouldn't be the main event. It's not that I didn't think it shouldn't be the main, or that it shouldn't be the main event. I just didn't think she was going to lose. I just thought it was continuing. She was going to win, and then when she lost it, that was the story. Or that was the one that's going to be. But you don't want to put it made all the sense for I was wrong. However you want to cut it up, I was wrong. The match was a banger, and yeah, I'm happy that the story isn't next time she loses, she's gone. I think there's a lot she could do. It just, and it felt weird. But you never know people's outside goals or how her body actually feels in real life, or what her career passion is, or her passion in life is after this career. So I didn't know, and I just felt it was like, oh man, okay, so they're doing this to eventually write her off. She's ready to be done. It's going on 76. I'm a little late, but ready to talk some Impact. Hey, come on, man. Better late than never, and even if never, better the next time, man. I don't know. Does that make sense? Either way, I appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Get those likes, subscribe, all that jazz up. Thank you for rocking with me. Let's continue. Yeah, I just felt like it would be weird to go into the territory of we built up her leaving, and then I don't know, right? Because you invest so much, you just accept that this is this is her going at some point, right? But I'm happy it's not, and it's not like her ring work or her mic work or anything has slipped. So why the hell would she? So that's the question, is that you think of maybe she's just ready, maybe she wants to stay home, maybe she wants to do her singing, maybe she wants to do other things. But I'm happy that's not the case. And I'm happy I was completely wrong. But I want to make sure I mention that I was wrong, and I apologize for wasting your time for not being prepared. And yes, as 76 Philly saying, I forgot to mention, I know I touched on it but never talked about it when we did the Hard to Kill review. I'm so glad that they mentioned the tapping out. Yeah, really glad that they mentioned Mickie tapping out and was not brought up. Yeah, it was obviously something that was planted in there, because the second time they've mentioned it since, not only on social media but on here. So it just, and now you know that Mickie knew she was going to win. Obviously, Mickie knew she wasn't going to retire. Was she was just in La La Land and she's like, oh shit, I forgot what I was doing? Maybe. I just don't think that was the case. I think it was put in there. It was out of the ref's view, intentional to set up, this later. And it didn't make Jordan look weak, and obviously that helped the cause that she did get the submission prior. But yeah, I love the back and forth here. I love the twist of her still thinking that Jordan looks at her as a charity case. And maybe that's where the possible heel turn comes at some point, Io. I really believe that makes sense. I feel like Nick, they're holding off on bringing in Nick for a reason as well. And once again, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm eating the wrong breadcrumbs. I'm going back to the wrong place. But I don't know. I think it's possible. And I would like to see that. I smell a triple threat at some point with Masha and Jordan. Yeah, I think that's great. And of course, we'll get to it later. Mickie inviting Mercedes to Impact. Now, I know, obviously, I talk about that all the time. I still think it's in the cards, and it makes even more sense if Mickey's the heel, so when she loses, it's not a big deal. But, yep, so we're going there. I have tap out written down. You got to, by the way, I know I always look down because I don't know if it's anxiety or just also looking at my thing. But my notes are literally just things with circles and words, and I'm just here to guess what I wrote and say what I feel. But thanks for rocking with me, guys. After this, we're keeping the knockouts steam engine going. It's the knockouts tag team titles on the line here. Death Doll's holding it, and I want to make a mention because I always feel like I'm always looking for the Death Dolls to break up, and it's not because I don't approve or like of the Death Dolls. They have their own Death Dolls actually coming out soon, so there's a lot of things to like about them. I want more tag teams, and having 3 former Knockouts champions in one stable, you could see that maybe there's a inevitable split down the line. But here they're going to pick up a win against Giselle and her legendary partner, returning partner, and Tara. Which, come on, man. Hearing Broken, by the way, shout out to Goldie, who did write the song, who did sing the song. I made the joke because when she did a video for TNA Jams, when she says, like, they just cut up my song, whatever. Cut up my song and pieced it all together, but it's a damn banger regardless, and it is. And it was so cool to hear it in 2023. A little more TNA flavor for us old heads that love it. But I want to mention about the tag team thing was the reason I mentioned the Death Dolls, or the splitting up of them, whatever. But also telling them, saying that I love the entity that is. I'm so late, I didn't know Goldilocks sang the song. Yeah. She's the chorus of the thing. Yeah, she has a full version, and then they mixed it up to create that. Check it out, TNA Jams. Krista will hate that I mentioned that. But what I like, and what clicked with me is, and someone correct me, in the match that eventually was the pre-show match, pre-show match of Hard to Kill with the multi-knockout tag team match that aired on Impact Plus and digital platforms. I know they picked up the win, and I remember seeing the hands of Giselle and Jay and Savannah and Tasha raised. And I remember Giselle and Tasha matching, but I don't think Giselle and Savannah matching, excuse me. Giselle and Savannah matching. A good partner for Giselle would be Mandy Rose or Ashley Dembois. That's true. That is true. I think Ashley Dembois, I'll mention that once again. I'm keeping my Team Canada thing alive, but introducing some young cats makes a lot of sense. Ashley being a Canadian herself, who knows? Mandy Rose would fit wonderfully with Giselle, and that would be, an attention grabber. But I think there's a possibility that I've been overlooking, and I think Luchador's credit mentioned this before. What about Savannah and Giselle? I don't know. We'll obviously get to the segment of why in a second, but once again, we're spoiler free, so if you know something, please don't tell me. But we move. Well, let's get to this. Death Doll's picking up the win here. Before that, Tara turning on Giselle. I don't know if it's turning because Giselle wasn't the best partner to begin with, but we get to see a widow's peak, which is awesome. It was awesome to see not only Tara back, but her to feel the love from the Atlanta crowd, which you guys did wonderful for her. Not only that you still got it, which was cool, but the Tara chant from the get, you could tell she was feeling it, and that's cool, man. That's cool, because when they're younger, they have to they're in character, right? They're playing the thing. They're not going to mark out for themselves. But as they return, or as they age, and you get to come back and still feel that love, and you can still let the guard down, or you can let the guard down and still show your appreciation. It is cool, man. Does that make sense? Yeah, it makes sense. But yeah, it was cool. It's a cool moment here. Another cool moment. And I love the narrative of Giselle can't, because this is. Now we know that the goal has to be Giselle winning those titles. It's got to be. So now we have someone who wants to win those titles, wants to get it right. There's a journey. There's a new team somewhere out there, and it's giving us the ability to say, who could it be? This person, that person. So on all accounts, making the tag division have stories within stories, and that's all I want. So the Death Dolls can stay together forever, as long as we keep developing, and I think we are, with this story that we're telling with Giselle. Continuing with that, I don't know if it's tag or foe, friend or foe here. There was a lot of friendly banter in the last matchup between Taylor Wilde and Killer Kelly, but Taylor Wilde doing some witchy things here, and saying there's going to be more Kelly in her future, which means more Kelly in our future. And more Taylor, by the way. Love Taylor. Shout out to her. Dig this, man. Is it a tag team? Hell yeah, let's go for it. Is it just them teasing a tag team and beating the hell out of each other for week after week? Cool, let's go. Either way, happy to see both on the television screen. Next up, Santino is with Dave LaGreca, because this hour is brought to you by Busted Open Radio. And Bully, look, joking aside, I like this, man. I love when Bully talks because he commands attention, demands respect, right? It's just something that your eyeballs and your ears just gravitate towards whatever the hell he says. And once again, him not being part of that 6-shooter thing is a nice little. Yes, he lost, and once, and I keep saying once again. I don't know because I feel like I always say the same stuff, which tends to be the case. But I like Santino being able to play. You lost. It's just like the straight man. My bully just keeps threatening, keep digging his hole as bully does. I like this. It served all purpose, kept bully as a bully, showed Santino can have a backbone, gets in the Dave LaGreca moment, and sets up the table for the main event as well. Keeps the world title. Once we're only seeing the world champion here once, mind you. I always see him at the end as well. I apologize. But we're keeping that world title on the tip of our tongue. Right? One Italian to another Italian. Canadian having a talk. Yeah. Hey, a third. I'm sorry. Full circle. Continuing this, Gia's backstage, and this is what I was alluding to. She's talking to Tasha and Savannah about the effects of losing, and none of it's working for Tasha. None of it. It's interesting to see all these people working themselves into a shoot online about how she's leaving, even though she just announced a multi-year extension. So there's that. And but we'll see what happens. I do think this is the split. I would have loved to see them have a run together. They deserved it, man. I remember being there. She's literally the reason, or when she kicks Kiera to the curb, so to speak, Savannah was there. We were there at the tapings. I remember that. So for them to be together that long and not to win, that sucks. At the same time, Savannah does deserve to win those titles. And if it's not going to be and Tasha's trolling everyone. Yeah. Oh my God, the oblivious people online about Tasha's tweet. Oh yeah. I blame that Giselle for them splitting. Well, let's keep that going, because if we, look, they already have the matching gear. That's the reason I'm going to say this. But I'm going to say Giselle and Savannah together, and this gives Tasha the ability to go Han Solo, man. But once again, would have loved them to win, and if they stay together, I'm cool with that as well. Trying to see if I have something on here. Giselle, yeah, okay. Next up is the major players, and they're rocking the TV Sting look. They're selling them shirts. The writing's on the wall for Cardona to be peacing out, man. But you got to give this dude not only the credit for the things he done on the indies for his brand, but for the brands of many others, GCW, NWA, Impact, obviously. And on the way out, doing the right thing. Major players on a losing streak, yep. Doing the service here to the Bullet Club. Ace and Bay getting the win and the rise. But you can only assume after the aftermath that he's also going to put over Joe Hendry on the way out. But let's not get too far ahead. The major players are taking the L against the Bullet Club. A little wonky to finish there, but I see what they're going for. Big moment for Ace and Bay. They are my AJ and Daniels in more ways than one. And if you guys know, there was that time where AJ and Daniels finally put it together and were a tag team together. And this is like that moment for me. Maybe AJ and Daniels were a little bit farther in their career at that point. But this Bullet Club I love the pairing. And these are those cats that are, God willing, are with us for the long haul. But they're getting a much-deserved win here, alluding to a matchup with the Motor City Machine Guns. Love that. Keep elevating Bullet Club. I said that, the Eliminator was no harm, no foul on the loss there. Yes, we want them to win the belts eventually. We want them to win the belts, period. But having a build and having a moment and having a one-on-one, we beat the Motor City Machine Guns is the money cash prize here. I think that's what it is, man. So let's enjoy the growth of Bullet Club, the rise of Ace and Bay, and let's look forward to that championship victory when it comes. But I love the intro. I got an N64 cut. Yeah, anyone notice the cut for the Bullet Club? I like that, man. The intro, what they're doing there. Once again, adding everyone having a character, even the entrances having a character and a vibe and a look. Dig it. Dig it. No Surrender in Vegas would be perfect. Yeah, that's true. Doesn't have to be at a big, like a Rebellion pay-per-view or anything like that. I just would love some build, man. But Vegas being a hometown for him wouldn't be a bad place to win your first tag titles in Impact Wrestling. So now after the victory here, the major players are in awe of losing. Oh my God, we lost. And Joe Hendry appears. And man, from the Chelsea stuff, appearance, we'll call it. So she appeared in Impact and WWE within a week, within a couple days. So that's cool. The whole thing, look, you guys can go watch it. Once again, another thing that's on their Twitter that I watched for the 4th time before coming on air. The song will be stuck. Shout out to I don't know if you could see it on the ticker for doing the awesome Joe Hendry photo with the with the records in the back, man. Look, the thing about Joe Hendry, and I had my precautions in the beginning because at that point in time, it didn't look like how it looks now, the show. You could see the gripes, I feel, within production. It didn't have character. It didn't have a flow as much as these episodes have and where we were prior. So that was part of it, because we were having, everyone's talking about production, and then here's a low budgety looking thing from Joe Hendry. So that was my gripe originally. And not only has won me, I don't even say won me over, because I'm always looking forward to the talent of Joe Hendry. It was just, the prestige Joe Hendry's great. I wasn't sure how this was going to correlate. When you're a face, I feel it is so hard to hit the nail on the head when it comes to comedy, especially week after week after week. And this dude continues to spit in the wind. And it never lands on him, man. So far, so good. 3-0, is that what he is right now, man? I bow to Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry. I hope they give him a new shirt, though. I will say that. Does he have one with just his face like that? That would be good. If everyone in the crowd is just wearing a blue shirt, white shirt, with his logo, or just his head, like a big, that would get over. Let's do that. Come on, Impact. Because the other one ain't working for me. But maybe it's working for you guys. So besides for that, he continues to knock it out of the park, continues to get song after song stuck in our head, and continues to break out of the Impact box, the Impact bubble. You have people that normally would not admit the Impact shit is good even when it is, admitting that it's good. If it's just because of Joe Hendry, whatever gets him by. I always say that. But, yeah, man. And this being Edge's bitch, I am excited for the day that hits the crowd, that hits a WWE event where we're hearing people chant Edge's bitch as Edge. I don't know if that's possible, or maybe the person Edge is facing, but let's have it happen. Let's manifest it into happening. That'll be a great moment. But thought that was awesome, man. So kudos to Joe Hendry there again and the team putting that together. Awesome shit. Next is Major Players and Moose. Talking there. I don't even know, to be honest, what happened. What are they complaining? And Moose is laughing it off. Yeah, I think that's what he's going to take out Joe Hendry, right? It will get mentioned on WWE one day, IO says. I agree. Jonathan Gresham here getting a showcase against Sheldon Jean, another Canadian newcomer. Noted, let's mention that. But this is Jonathan Gresham picking up the win here, getting back on track. First loss since 2018 in Atlanta. Was against Eddie Edwards at Hard to Kill. So cool to get him back on track here. But also just, the dude is a tempo changer. He's someone you do want to showcase. Jeff, what was longer, Josh's first world title reign or Chelsea Green's Royal Rumble appearance? Oh, man. Poor Chelsea. Look, I'll mention that quick because I'm babbling on about the show and we got a lot to hit on when it comes to talking points or hot topics. But Chelsea, look, they've been waiting to hold her, or put her out for this long. It's cool that she got to do in the Royal Rumble, but anticlimactic that you wait this long and that's it. I guess they're gonna go with a Karen-like characters from what I hear. I just say wait for Cardona and just let them tear it up together as a power couple Not that she can't do it on her own, but it doesn't look... I don't trust the booking for her to do it on her own, to be honest. So I wish her the best, but yeah, it looks like Cardona might be there to help her out soon. I don't know. And I think them together would be money, but I get back to Jonathan Gresham. Great to showcase him here until you get him into a money program. But his style, like I said, is a tempo changer. And I love him. I love Jonathan Gresham. Anytime he comes on TV, you know what's really sad to me, man, is the narrative online changing now that he left AEW of his skills or whatever people perceive of him as a wrestler. Screw them. Dude's legit. It's awesome for him of an acquisition and him be on the when we got him on the roster. Yeah, I say this and I keep saying it. The bottom for this dude is Dean Malenko, and I'm a Dean Malenko mark to the T. So let Impact sprinkle their love on him as well, and this dude is just, I think he's going to be a star in the making. I mean, he's a star, but you know what I mean, for Impact in the championship way. And I like this Sheldon Jean kid, man. I love having this. I know it's not a TNA feel. It's a lot of people have been doing this over time, bringing in some new talent, some young blood. But cool to see the young blood get in here and get worked in these enhancement matches, but still get a little bit of play, get to show who they are. Kid's got a good size. Maybe I guess that's Gresham. Maybe I don't know. Maybe he's not that big after all. But I like the possibilities with this kid and Ashley Dembois, 2 new Canadians, by the way. Got to keep wishing in existence. Matt and Tom are up next talking about the matches that will happen next week. We'll get to that. And then, of course, kicking it over to Kevin Kelly now. I love this. Him making it feel live and Kevin Kelly telling you what's going to happen next after Impact on Access TV. Cool little feature. And then last but not least is the 6 Golden Shooter former champions to declare number 1 contender. In this order, we have the elimination of Rhino via Sammy. We have... Eddie versus via Sabin after a PCO appearance and distraction, so continuing the Eddie and PCO debacle. You got Sabin eliminated next via Moose. You got Moose being eliminated next via Swan, and then Swan after the design come out as well to cheer him on. Swan eliminating Callahan and becoming the number 1 contender here, which I really like for Rich Swann. We've been building that, the friendship of Josh, and you deserve one, man. You really deserve one. You really deserve one. And when you keep telling someone they really deserve something, you kind of feel like that maybe this is when Josh changes a little bit. I hope there's no too much build-up, maybe just little moments. And maybe this isn't going to happen, but I think this would be really cool. We want to see a Josh turn eventually. I think everyone was, especially with him holding the championship still. If his buddy, he's finally been... looking forward to getting that chance to defend against. Who knows what leads up to. I hope there's maybe just subtle little moments, and then maybe Josh tweaks something and Swan attacks that during the match. Something where after that match, Josh turns in after victory, and would be cool. Is it going to happen? Probably not. But I like the possibilities of 2 friends going at it after a long time of wanting to have that match. There's possibilities there. But Swan picking up that. Awesome to have Swan back on top. Once again, very few could touch Swan bell to bell, rope to rope. So it's going to be a banger, you know that. And when you have a face champion, you need banger after banger if you're not going to have big heel, meaty feud like we had with Bully Ray. So no harm, no foul. No surrender is going to have Swan versus Josh for the championship and Masha versus Mickie for the championship. So 2 bangers right there. After this, we get the design coming in. They attack Rich, and then Yuya tries to make the save, and then Josh and Frankie finally do. So we get that match coming up next week. Yuya, Josh, Frankie, and Rich against the design. Look out for that. And we'll talk about that. But what did you guys think of this show? I thought there was a lot of depth to it, man. A lot of development of these characters, a lot of development of the aesthetic of the show. I still think there's something going on as far as rebrand or whatever, but right now it's looking good. It's sounding good. The crowd's great, and the product's hitting, man. A lot of new blood, too. That helps the cause. I know last I looked, it was in the A. Generally is. There wasn't any little D's this week, so I appreciate that, but I only care what you guys... I mean, I care what the poll is as well. But I want to hear what you guys think. Actual Impact fans that watch it from the beginning to the end. Let me know what you guys think in the comments or here in the chat. Either way, I appreciate you guys. Thank you for rocking with me. Listen to the Impact on Access TV review. Now, a few things of hot topics that I want to rapid fire. I already kind of hit the Chelsea Greene thing. Thanks for that, guys, helping me sway into my topics. Leaving that, we hit on New Japan Strong. Got Anthony Greene on here as well, already off the roster page. So, after all that talk, you know, it was worth having that talk as far as how we should look at each signing and what each person brings to the table and the strategic signings that we make. But unfortunately, not sticking around. I think he's a talented dude, but not going to cry over that. BFG Chicago, we already mentioned that because Lucha was in the video there, but BFG will be in the Chicago area. Really cool that they're doing all of these packages. I like that. I don't know if you could buy them singly, but go check out ImpactWrestling.com events and look into purchasing your BFG tickets already. Love that we're already getting on. We're getting there, guys. A lot of the things we wanted to happen around 2020 had a little hiccup, right? We're finally getting to those things and having cities to go to, different arenas to go to, different markets, and thinking so far ahead. It's nice. It's refreshing, right? You can breathe a little bit, but looking forward to that. Anything can happen in Chicago, right? I mentioned Mickie inviting Mercedes. Look, guys, I'm not going to back off this. I know I had to eat crow as she didn't show up to Hard to Kill. I already have the graphic made, okay? But just too much into it. Too many connections for it not to be a possibility. And we'll see after her match happens with Kyrie, right? We'll see what happens in California, and we'll go from there. One thing I do want to mention, really quick. Not how cool is it to have Kazarian back as a regular player, right? It's a different note. Like we love having our old heads back and having him there for moments, but now having him under contract and knowing this is his home company is really cool. His home promotion. But he did a interview. Conan and Glenn Gilberti, K100 podcast. Conan has a podcast, if you didn't know. So check that out. And really good listen, man. He talks about his decision to leave AEW. He talks about Cody a little bit and his decision to leave AEW. Talks about why he loves Impact and the locker room and the history. Some really cool stuff about the history of Impact. And also, man, you got to remember what not only did this guy leave AEW, which is right, is up there in popularity. Not only did he leave a contract, and I'm sure a hefty payday. I'm sure he's not making chump change, but you know what I mean. To come back to Impact says a lot, but you can't. He's I don't want to say throwing that away because throwing away is not the right term. He's choosing what's best for him and his career and his family, and this is his family. But not only does that all go into it, I'm saying, just to not only is he doing that, but he's hitting on all of the notes that I think I would want him to, and I'm trying to figure out a way to communicate that to you guys. It's not like he's going on a big PR thing. I mean, he did do the media, so maybe he is going on a PR thing. But it's not like he's dissing AEW in the process, is my point. He's going out there and saying, these are the reasons I wanted to bet on myself. Is he obviously going to get a better spot in rotation compared to AEW? Of course he is. But you're leaving behind a lot for that opportunity, so there has to be more than just that opportunity, right? He feels... And he makes a point of saying that he feels optimistic about what's next for Impact or where it's headed. So you got to take that into consideration when we get a little low or we think there's a lull. There's something coming, or these people would not make that choice to leave that position to come here, man. Kaz leaving AEW reminds me of Max leaving TNAIW. What do you mean? I don't get that. Leaving AEW. I don't get the comparison, but lay it on me. Maybe he'll be back. We'll see. But yeah, really cool. So go check that out. I know there's clips of it as well, so if you don't want to listen to the whole thing, you got time for that. It's really cool to see him talk about Impact in the future there. Also want to give a shout out. I know Big Kon has been around, obviously, for a bit now. But making it official, putting it out there of why he is signing long-term with Impact as well, rejuvenating his love for wrestling. And the locker room and all of that, man. It's a really good team. And if we could take anything out of it, I think that's between the two. It's good to hear these things because it shows what we hope to be the case, which is we have a good team behind the scenes. For the longest time, it was we have a lot of great stuff in front of the camera. But we did... Oh, got you guys. But backstage was a little wonky. Now backstage is matching the front for the most part. Let's roll, right? But Big Kon coming in, and look, I said from the get that he's got a cool look. Had no clue of a single promo, so I love that he's getting the ability to speak. They're developing him a little bit. They did last week at least. And any group or anything you put him in, he has a presence. He looks like the greatest compliment I give is if we have a video game, I want him in it. And you also always need a big man for groups and tag teams, and he fits that very well. My thing is I wasn't going to, write home about the fact that he's a dude in his 40s, right? It's not an age game. I'm not being ageist, but a fact's a fact. If it was a 20-something-year-old hot on the indies guy, it's a little different than a 40-year-old veteran, right? It's called spade a spade. But to come in and fit seamlessly, and then things he said as well about trying to build that chemistry with the design and feeling it out. These guys don't know each other. Maybe they do, but not as far as working together on it and then saying, "Hey, we're all buddies. We're on this show together." So they got to find that chemistry, and he was talking about that. And I think they're finding. I think there's tweaks they still need to make, but locking in your guys and knowing that they have a home is a great place to start. You have a reason for them to invest in developing that chemistry and invest in developing the design. And I don't want the design to fail. I don't think it is. I think it's improving. I think they're finding their place and the chemistry. But it's going to take work when you introduce two new dudes, essentially, a new leader, and a new brand. So let's see where this plays out. But I'm happy to have him on board. We also got Brian Cage, possibly in free agency here. This was one of my biggest gripes with Tony was that he rolled over Brian Cage because the writing was on the wall that he was going to come back to Impact Wrestling. At least I thought so. And being a former world champion at that specific time when a year ago from whenever it runs up, would have been a perfect time for him to come because we were clamoring for more world championship competition for Josh. So I'm excited for the possibility of him come up. Do I want him back? I do. Not only is he a former world champion, he can still go. He's having some bangers now from what it seems. But I just think the gripe with him has always been people are like, oh, he's just a guy who goes out there and wrestles well. Well, that's a good place to start. But also, he is the machine, right? He doesn't need to talk. He doesn't have it. But if you bring Melissa back, and she's his announcer or his manager, and they're there for whatever. They're there to win. They're there to collect belts. They're there to get what's theirs because they weren't getting it. I think that would be such a cool thing, man. He comes out. He's the Bane, our Bane, right? And she's our Talia. I just think that could be something really cool. I love both of them, man. Always love when she used to do the Twitch stuff. And they both feel like family to what has become this new Impact Wrestling. So I would welcome back with open arms. I hope you guys would as well. He wrestles like a cruiserweight is the problem to folks. Really? I could see. Okay, because he's meaty, so he should wrestle bigger. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. He's entertaining. He always put on bangers. He crossed the line when very few others would. He came in with that new regime, and I mean, busted his ass, wrestled. I mean, how many times did the dude get hurt and still wrestled for us? I mean, his championship reign was only, smushed a little bit because of his injury, and then of course they all left us. The mass exodus for AEW. But look, I think the time heals all wounds. If there's any wounds when it comes to that, him wrestling a cruiserweight, okay, okay, sure. But talent is talent. He's a great athlete, thank you. But he pulls his hamstring by just standing up. I mean, when you're that big, I think maybe that's something where you guys can... He felt like a top player when he was with us. Yeah, the presentation of him. I mean, the difference is he's facing, when you face people like Lashley and you're presented in that realm as a meaty guy, it's going to work, right? Big meaty guy. It works. And I think, once again, it's all about presentation. If he goes out there and he's destroying people... And yes, maybe taking a step back from the cruiserweight-like wrestling because his body might not be able to handle that anymore. He's getting up there in age as well. Not old by any means, but for wrestling, you're going out there and busting your ass. I think that maybe he could slow down. Critical Sting with the insert here was booked better in Impact. Fair enough. But yeah, it just goes back to the Jonathan Gresham thing. People are going to have their gripes about this or that, or not the prototypical this or that. But that's what we're best at. We don't have the prototypical this or that. Even though I think you can make an argument for Josh being one of the purest wrestling machines out there, we have an island of misfit toys. We embrace that. We are the ECW of this era. And having people that say, oh man, okay, what's the gripe with this guy? Okay, he wrestles like a cruiserweight, he gets hurt, whatever. Okay, let's slow him down a little bit. He can't. People say, promo. Okay, sure. Let's get his wife out there who can bust out intros, interviews, promos, whatever the hell you need. Let's have them come out. And I just always had this image, and I remember tweeting him about it too. I love Melissa on the Twitch channel as well, Millard. And once again, they feel like family to this company. But I just feel like a Talia and Bane vibe. Like they could just... And that would be something cool. I think they could run with that. Is there any other topics you guys want me to hit on? I see some Killer Cross just lost to Mysterio. Need to say more? That's... I think there's a play for everyone out there. You know what you're getting into. And... I was going to say the cream always rises to the always rises to the top, but no, that's not true. That's not true. It depends on booking sometimes as well, right? But a lot going on in Impact Wrestling. I know I hit on Mickie and Brian and Big Kon and all of that stuff. Edge's bitch, world title matchups, Terror returning. Anthony Greene already being gone. The last thing, and we'll make this a shorter episode. Stay under the 126. But the last thing I want to take my time with a little bit, just because it's something that you guys know. Look, we get our 100 or whatever, nearly 200 views, all combined, whatever it is, give or take on how hot Impact is, or how stupid of something I say is. And I appreciate that. Positive vibes, Rebellion close to a sellout. The platform, no matter how big or small, I want to make sure I use to the best of my ability to at least, if it's not, make a tribute to Jay, or make a tribute to Don, or shit on Time Warner Media, even though I do have to say that they allowed a lot, and I'm glad that AEW was allowed to put on some love for Jay Briscoe. I'm happy about that. I never faulted them, by the way. Time Warner is a different story. But I want to use this time I have, if you guys are rocking with me. But by the way, above average, we're rocking about 30% of you that rock from moment A to moment B, not saying those that come back and finish. So thank you for that. I know it's a lot to listen to someone ramble for an hour and some change, but I appreciate you. I love you guys. And that's the only reason I do this. I wouldn't waste my time to put out something that I can feel yeah, it doesn't change my opinion on Warner Media as well, buddy. As well, buddy. But, you know, they are not. I'm not wiping them clean, but I'm happy something was done. Once again, check the description here for not only Jay Briscoe and his family's donation link, but also of the other family who lost their mother, man. But I want to use this for whatever time I can to address something that that matters to me or that I see that we could do better at, including myself. You know, and this one's about Lacey Evans. Okay. Now I saw something on my personal Twitter. I was going down there and saw a video, and I want to approach on what I know of Lacey Evans to start. Okay. I know dick of Lacey Evans. I've never watched a match of Lacey Evans. I know the gist of her character. She stays in character. That's sometimes the gripe, the cop thing, right? Okay. And then not too long ago, she made a mention of, and I won't say it because God knows what YouTube censors here, but made a reference to certain things, including ADD and autism linked to processed food. Now, one, I can admit, I am not a scientist, and not a scientist that works in a lab that tests processed food for ADD and autism links. Okay, none of us are. I think we can all say that. Okay. So putting our personal "we are scientists" thing aside, because once again, I'd like to mention this: no matter what you believe in, science is not dogma. Scientists even believe that. Science theories change as we find out new things. Things develop and things change. Now, I'm not saying she is correct. I have zero clue. Once again. Not a scientist, a dad, and guy who talks to you guys on once a week, Sundays, twitch.tv/TNAIWChannel, 8 p.m. Eastern, every Sunday here. Okay, that's what I do. Well, it's not what I do, but you know what I mean. So let's put that aside. I'm not going to make any, you guys can feel whatever you want to feel about that, but I will say at the going and doing the research on that, not a single thing she said was rude towards a single person with ADD, which technically I have, but that's part of something bigger, and autism. Okay, so not a single thing was she attacking the people. She's talking about whatever, not making light of it. Don't know, don't care. I'm just saying let's. I'm getting to the facts here. So how this plays hand in hand is the silliness of. I just want to put that aside. I just want to hit on her two controversies, right? Was the cop thing where she was in character, and then that thing where she said what she said and deleted and people shit on her and yada yada. So the video in question here is she's going down the ramp. Fan puts out a high five and she snubs him intentionally. And this one person blew it up by taking that and put, "You gotta be kidding me," and tagging her again and saying, "Do better." And I thought about it for a second, and I said, okay, did I miss something? Did this person go on and put a YouTube video out, a TikTok, or something that said, "Oh, she broke my heart. This heel walked down the ring, snubbed me, and broke my heart." Did that happen? And that didn't happen. That didn't happen. So then I don't understand what the anger is. And then I put two and two together. Didn't take much, I get. But diving into it. Now let's not. It doesn't right or wrong here. Okay. What I'm gonna say is this is my problem. I feel as a society we are forgetting the point of our outrage to begin with. Outrage is not healthy to continue all day, every day. We should use our outrage to get shit done, to make a point, whatever it may be, right? To fight for someone who can't fight for themselves. But these people are being outraged over a heel going to a fan and snubbing them. And the part that I'm obviously excluding here is the fact that this fan just happened to have Down syndrome. So this person who's tweeting this anger towards another individual, is assuming, amongst a lot of things, that this human being, wrestling fan, that is here at a wrestling show to watch the bad guys versus good guys, is not with it enough to understand that she's the bad guy? Is that what this outrage is over? Because I don't see any outrage from the individual. So what that says to me is you, from the looks of a human being, pitied them and used it as an excuse to attack another human being. And I will tell you this. If you've ever had the privilege of hanging out with someone who has Down syndrome, you would know they do not want to be pitied. They are human beings. The fact that I have to say that is the dumbest thing that I ever thought I would have to say. And that's not true. I say a lot of dumb things. But as far as having to say. So this person, this warrior, guys, she doesn't need to do better. Y'all need to do better. This outrage over someone who doesn't need you to stick up for them, who is a wrestling fan, knows what's up, man. Like, come on, dude. And, I really don't have much other than that to say on it, besides, I understand you could say the correlation of, I just don't put those two together. If you think this human being is doing it because she thinks Down syndrome is the same thing as ADHD and autism, and then also is going to snub, come on, guys, what kind of human Look, this outrage for clout, this think you're doing good, an eye for an eye only ends up with the whole world blind, man. So even if you thought she was this big piece of shit doing that, snubbing intentionally to hurt this kid's feelings and not just giving him the same experience as every other fan that pays and gets a front row seat. Look, I don't know, man. I don't know. I just think that even if you thought she was that big of a dump, is that the way to go about it? Is this what we're going to keep doing? Are we going to just keep attacking people with pitchforks, or are we going to give people the opportunity to explain or to learn or develop or to grow as human beings? Now, I think this is this is a reach beyond reach. And I think we have to look ourselves in the mirror if the first thing we saw was the fact that this person was had Down syndrome. I don't know, man. It had left a bad taste in my mouth, and then seeing all the comments on there as well of just, oh, she's a piece of shit. Man, I don't know. Well, all right, guys. And went silent here. It's a topic that is going to be polarizing. And maybe you think different than me. Maybe you think she's the world's whatever. And look, even if you think that, you need to give people the opportunity to grow and the ability to correct them, and not in do it or die manner. It's not going to create people who grow here. They're going to grow in anger. And that's not healthy for anybody. And it's not healthy for you guys as well, just to be looking for stuff to be obsessed about, to be angry about. Maybe let's start looking out for the positives. It's just trying to find some good stuff to uplift us, and also dealing with the shit that happens. And using outrage for real shit that deserves outrage. And I know, and you guys can go, you can Google it, go look on YouTube. There's a lot of shit that deserves outrage. So let's focus in the right place. Let's love, let's accept. Let's open our mind. Let's also, I think a lot of our problems could be solved by just being around people that you normally aren't. Because it seems like a lot of the warriors for things that they aren't are people who haven't been around the people they're advocating for. But I digress. Look, guys, once again, this is a topic that isn't your bag, I apologize for that, but it's one of those things that I'm going to use this time for. Not go too crazy, I'm not going to go into any politics or any of that shit. But just to make reason, to find some commonality, to find whatever and keep this community together. To treat every human being the same, no matter of their opinion. She's entitled to her opinion if you like it or not and agree with it, but it has the right to voice her thoughts. Yeah, she has the right to voice her thoughts, especially if it's not attacking a human being. Okay, we're talking about someone outrage originally over someone's thought on the effects of processed food. Okay. So, look, let's spread love, not hate. Let's look for where everyone's coming from, and then we can find how to find a common ground for everybody. But with that being said, I appreciate you guys listening, no matter if you agree or not. The point of all of this is not to just agree and smile and be a dystopian land. This is to converse and have different opinions, and through conversation we grow stronger and we build a community one brick at a time, one fan at a time, one friend at a time. Impact Wrestling this week, once again, we have that big 8-man challenge. We also have the Bullet Club versus Kushida and Kevin Knight. So that's cool. Another battle of the Super Junior Tag League. Giselle versus Savannah Evans. Oh. Maybe that's where I saw the picture of them looking having the same gear. All right. Well, there's that. But hey, still whatever. And so yeah. All right, guys. Look out for Impact Wrestling this week. We'll talk about it next week. Ad nauseam, like I always do. Thank you for rocking with me to the end. Thank you for voicing your opinions, even if they aren't mine. And likewise, I love you guys. I appreciate you. Once again, every Sunday, 8 p.m. live, twitch.tv/TNAIW channel. Get those likes up, get those subscriptions up, all that stuff, follows. And make sure you check out all the awesome shows on this channel and give them love as well. If there's nothing else, I bid you adieu. Go buy tickets. Looks like everything's selling well. Go Impact Wrestling. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.